It can be really disturbing to see cognitive changes in your family member. Is it normal aging or could it be dementia? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to be pretty darn sure of which one it is. Hi there, I'm Sophia. I put out weekly videos to help you be a more satisfied, more successful, and more informed family caregiver. Do you jump to conclusions every single time your older family member forgets where they put their keys or they can't think of the word that they want to use? It's really easy to jump to conclusions. You might not be really clear about what's normal aging and what might be dementia. So let me start by defining what is normal. You can think of normal in two different ways. One is, how does your family member compare to other people who are like them? People who are of the similar age, similar background and education and gender. And the second way to define normal is to compare it to how your family member used to be. How did they used to be able to process information and manage their life? Just because your family member has some memory problems does not necessarily mean that they have dementia. We have all had times when we forgot where we parked our car, or we get up and we walk into the other room and forget what we went in there for. At least I have. I'm sure you have too. But I don't think that I have dementia. I think it's normal because most other people who are like me, of my age and my background and my education, also experience these things sometimes. Sometimes you might be looking for these signs, these deficits in your family member so that you can say, aha, they have dementia. But even though they're having some problems with their cognition and memory, don't jump to conclusions just yet. The term dementia is usually used as a general term to refer to a cognitive decline. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. It is a decline from what is normal to having deficits in memory, cognition, and in other mental abilities. Dementia exists on a continuum. You don't not have it one day and have it the next day. It's usually a very gradual, subtle change. Over on the left is normal thinking, and then you would have a mild cognitive impairment. Even within these categories, don't forget it is on a continuum. Your family member might have a subtle graduation in the severity of these symptoms. In this phase of mild cognitive impairment, you might notice that they start to maybe repeat the same questions over and over, or forgetting where they are, or have a failing memory about recent events. You might also see your family member losing or misplacing things a little more often. They might have a really difficult time planning and organizing like they used to do, and doing complex things like planning a dinner party or managing their finances. You might start to notice that they're having a harder time remembering how to do things that they knew how to do for years, like driving to the grocery store down the street that they've been going to for 20 years. Or how to tie their shoelaces. You might notice that it's harder for them to learn new things, like a new remote control or a new computer. You might start to notice that they have a loss of judgment and are susceptible to senior scams or making large unnecessary purchases. You might notice just one of these things in the beginning, and your family member may really still be able to live alone and care for themselves independently. But you may gradually start to see more and more of these symptoms up to the point of it affecting their daily life. I wouldn't panic or jump to conclusions if you see these things happening once in a while or one time, but you want to look for patterns over time. The next phase is moderate dementia, in which you might see a lot of the same symptoms as in mild cognitive impairment, but a little more severe, a little more intense, a little more often. Your parent might need more assistance with their everyday life because it becomes harder for them to do their regular activities and to take care of their personal care. You'll likely see more confusion, more memory loss, including distant memories, which is new in this phase. There might be significant behavior and personality changes, including increased agitation, fear, and paranoia. They'll likely need help with bathing and grooming and toileting and dressing, but when you try to help them, you might notice an increased level of resistance to your help. There might be an increased difficulty in grasping time and dates, and might think that something that happened years ago just happened last week. You might see that they also are having sleep problems and difficulties with their sleep patterns and getting up and wandering in the night. And they might really have a hard time dealing with any changes to their normal routines. Briefly, I'll talk about severe dementia on the other end of the continuum. By this time, you would have no doubt that they're suffering from some type of dementia. With severe cognitive impairment, the person might progress to the point of being unable to communicate or control their bowel and bladder. They might lose the ability to walk or hold their head up, and they may progress to being bedbound. The earlier symptoms of mild cognitive impairment might be dementia, but it might not be. It's really important to talk to the doctor if you see these symptoms early on and they are becoming a pattern. Doctors can run tests and rule out other things that might be contributing to these cognitive problems, like a vitamin deficiency or thyroid problems. If it is dementia, there is no cure, but a doctor might be able to slow down the progression and help manage some of the behaviors and the symptoms and provide support that you and your family member will need. But remember, only a doctor can say if these are truly dementia symptoms and what type of dementia it is. If your family member is suffering from cognitive difficulties that include paranoia, then I recommend that you watch this video on caring for a paranoid delusional parent next. If this information was helpful, then please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you don't want to miss anything senior related, then go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the weekly videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.